I actually forgot about recording, but yeah, the recording will start now. So today's event will be moderated by Mia Lee, and she's also a member at ace.berkeley. And we are joined by two wonderful speakers, Jason Ju, co-founder and CEO of InnoMedi, and Casey Means, co-founder and CMO of Levels Health. I'll pass it to Mia to give a brief introduction of our two speakers and the companies they represent.
Great, thanks Charlene and Wendy for hosting this. I'm happy to be the moderator today. And before we dive right into our main topic today and bombard our lovely speakers with our questions, let's first give them a chance to briefly introduce themselves as well as their company. Jason, why don't you start first?
Yeah, hi everybody. This is Jason. Actually, I'm in China right now in Shenzhen. So our company established in year 2017, actually in Silicon Valley. So company called InnoMedi. In end of 2017, so our co-founder come back to China and we established a company in the Shenzhen here until now. So we do the wearable device in healthcare. So currently, major of time I'm in China. So it's my very pleasure to join this meeting, introduce myself and also my company product to everybody. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, I guess you briefly introduced the company as well, but if you have anything to add, please feel free.
Oh yeah. So for my personal background, so I was do the chip design and architecture in Silicon Valley about 16 years. And after that, so I think since year 2013, I began to think about what I can do in the future. So since that time, I meet a lot of people, especially who do the startups very successful in China and also in the United States. So since that, I also joined several groups, like I was in the ace wireless as executive president, and also in some other groups. So from those groups, I can learn a lot of things regarding the entrepreneur, how to do your stuff at the beginning. And also meet a lot of people, and also particularly the co-founder and partner. So since then, I have two friends in Silicon Valley, so we have same goals and also interesting in the medical area, especially for the devices. So initially we have a prototyping, and in year 2016, so we start thinking to build that as the future product in the industry. So we come back to China in I think October 2016, and with one famous hospital in China, and we test our prototyping, and it was very successful. We got first funding in year 2017, and then we decided to move back to China to start company. So till now, we have a 3 round the investing. It's all from the same investor. So currently, we do have the first generation product will get a permit to the market, both in the FDA and CFDA. It's very tough, but I will talk more later about how the whole process. So I will stop here to let Casey to do her introduction. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's very interesting experience. I'm pretty sure our friends will have more questions later on. Thank you, Jason. All right, Casey, do you want to give a brief intro as well?
Sure, absolutely. And thank you so much for having me. And thanks to everyone who joined today, who's spending their Friday night in on this conversation. This is really exciting to be here. So my name's Casey Means. I'm a medical doctor. I'm the chief medical officer and co-founder of Levels. And just a little bit about my background. So I initially trained as an ear, nose, and throat head and neck surgeon after medical school. I was practicing for about 4.5 years. And during my time as a clinician and in surgery, I really became struck by just what I consider to be the largest epidemic facing our country and our globe, which is metabolic disease. So diseases associated with blood sugar. There's 130 million Americans right now with prediabetes or diabetes, and 72% of our country is overweight or obese. And these are almost entirely preventable conditions that contribute to the majority of our healthcare costs and many other associated conditions. So I was really focusing on this niche part of the body as an ENT, and just became so struck by this larger issue that I didn't really feel like there were good solutions to that I was seeing in the healthcare conventional mainstream healthcare system to really approach these at scale to help people avoid these metabolic fates that are affecting so many in our country. So I actually shifted gears completely, and I left surgery and I decided to partner with entrepreneurs to create scalable solutions to help empower people with their personal data to ideally improve dietary and lifestyle choices in a personalized way to avoid chronic disease, especially metabolic disease. So that's sort of how Levels came about. So what Levels is a program that pairs a wearable device called a continuous glucose monitor, which is a device that's traditionally used in the diabetic space, and takes it to a mainstream wellness market, and takes it from a disease management and treatment tool to a personalized health and wellness biofeedback tool. So we use continuous glucose monitors that are off the shelf. We're not actually a hardware manufacturing company. We are the software layer on top of that hardware piece. So we take that continuous data stream about our glucose levels, which is transmitted from this wearable sensor on your body to your smartphone, and we create actionable insights out of that data stream. We make it engaging, interpretable, really take it out of the medical realm and into the consumer wellness realm, to help inspire people to create personalized behavior change choices that will promote health and longevity. So we started in 2019. We raised our seed round of funding in late 2020, led by Andreessen Horowitz and about 150 angel investors. And we are in a closed beta program right now. We've had about 6,000 people go through our program in this beta phase to really iterate on the product and learn and build the best product possible. And we have 100,000 people on our wait list right now. And so we're trying to get our operations up to scale to really be able to accommodate that interest. So that's Levels, and I'm happy to talk about anything related to the consumer software and how it relates to the wearable market. And if there's any pre-meds or people who have questions about that side of things as well, transitioning from healthcare to digital health, I'm happy to speak to that as well. Thanks for having me.
Great. Thank you so much, Kathy, for sharing the experience. Okay, so let's dive right into our roundtable discussion today. So to get the conversation started, could our speakers share a little bit about their insights into the current challenge for wearables in healthcare, and how the companies are dealing with the challenges, for example, some key innovations from the company about the product? Jason?
Okay, I can do the first. So definitely there's a huge challenge for this area, because from my background, I'm of our company is the key co-founder come from the IT area. So we don't know the medical device, even don't know medical area when we come back to China initially. So there are a lot of policies and also the regulation regarding how you do the medical device initially. And also there is a challenge for the timing, because the product, when you design the products, it's prototyping, and from prototyping to production, it's a huge way, a long way to go. You need to prepare everything, and the chain, the marketing, everything for material, and also the company, everybody in the company, you need to do the different area, one for the medical area, one for the product area. So when we initially to do this, it cost about 1.5 years to familiarize everything in China, especially the policy, the everything. So the challenge, I think, major challenge is for this. You need to know this area first, and you need to do the policy first, and also based on that, you need to follow that one, and also you okay, what's that? Sorry. Do I lost?
You're still here. I
Okay.
just stopped sharing my screen.
So that's very tough initially. So at the beginning, we only have like 3 or 4 people in China. So first year we try to OEM everything to other companies, and we only focus on the design, the introduction, and also for the innovation for our product. But we cannot deliver the things use that way. So we just waste the time for that things, I think about 6 and 9 months. So after that, we decided to come back, pull back everything, and we just regrouping our company, and we recruiting the talent for the certain areas, and we group the company together, and we do the design, we do the market chain, we do the regulation, we do the manufacturing. And right now, although our company is still small in Shenzhen, we totally about 20% up, but we do everything. So I think for the product, especially in the medical device area, you need to control everything, because that's very, very tough for every stage. You need to monitor that, because you need to have a record, and also you need to report that things to the government, and also there's a policy. The government will send person, to your company, and freely you run them. You will come to your company to check everything in the whole procedure. Is that and leak or some weak point, and then they will stop your manufacturing and let you rearrange everything, and until they feel okay, satisfied for everything, and you can continue. So then if you want to do this area, in the beginning you need to know the policy and then follow that one, and every stage, every moment, you need to record everything, even for small things. And there is a expertise. When they come to here to check everything, they know how you do these things every stage. So that's very, very challenge. Technically, also they have a challenge point. For example, some certain technologies, you do not have such things. You need to based on other company or other product, and then you regrouping those things together. You need to do the test. You need to proving that it's working. So that's also another part. So timely, the timely, you have a schedule, right? And you have your target. But when you move a certain stage, you cannot foresee everything. You know what I mean? So you need to prepare everything, but you cannot foresee everything. Whenever something happens, you have to deal with it, use your own skill, and also use how company knowledge to figure out how could to do for this in next stage. So this is another challenge for that. And also, actually the money is challenge, right? So I think 3 points. First thing is the team, right? If you don't have the team to support your target, and that you cannot deliver things, right? And the second thing is the market. The market has to, huge market to support your idea and also product in the future. You can see that. And third one is money, right? You have enough money to support your team, because this is all invested in the first, 3 years. Whenever, before you get a permit to the market, you cannot do any commercial things, You can do the testing with the hospital. You can do some, personal testing for your product, but you cannot do the AD. You cannot go to the public. You cannot even put on your, paper. So everything is, you cannot to the market, which means you have to spend money and invest money continuously in 3 years. So that's very tough, which means for company, also for the VC, for investor, they have to have a strong feeling, which means this company will be successful, and then they will put the money in your company. And also, you as a leader for this team or company, you have to have a clear, foresee everything in the future happen in 2, 3, even 5 years, 10 years. So I think in summary, just like I said, 3 points is very important for this area. And especially, it's quite different medical system in China and in United States. I will mention that later. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jason. It just feels incredible to pull so many threads together and have the effort. It's really inspiring. And Casey, would you like to also share?
Sure, absolutely. And yeah, it is inspiring to hear Jason speak about this because it is so complex bringing hardware to market. And it's a monumental feat and very impressive to hear about. I would say I can talk sort of on the very other end of the spectrum. So I'm working in the consumer wearable space. So these are the types of wearables that we see, people buying off the shelf, non-medical things like the Aura rings and the Whoops and the Fitbits and the Apple Watches and things like that. And not just consumer wearable focus, but also what we focus on is the software layer on top of the consumer wearables. And so Levels, our company is in the wellness space. So we're not a diagnostic or treatment software, we're a wellness software. And that gets into some really interesting questions about regulation that I think we're going to talk about later in the panel, but are definitely worth noting if you're looking to go into this, the software layer of the consumer biowearable space. There's a lot of different intricacies around FDA regulation and software as a medical device that are quite interesting to navigate. So I think getting really familiar with that really early on is very, very important as you're starting a company in the health tech, health software space. There's a number of excellent documents online that the FDA puts out to really help people navigate exactly where they fall in terms of their software, whether it's going to be regulated like a medical device itself, the software, or whether it more falls into the wellness category. But in terms of challenges, I think really the biggest challenge for people creating software in the consumer biowearable space is that ultimately you're motivating awareness and you're motivating behavior change. And so the chasm that you're crossing is how to take a continuous variable and turn it into something that's meaningful and insight driven and actionable and something that really people can make use out of. So there's a lot of behavioral psychology that goes into that, a lot of really interesting engineering and design. And so, so much of it comes down to team and vision and, and rapid iteration of your product to make it as useful to your customer as possible. So very different from what Jason was talking about, where there's like multi-year lead times. It's kind of the opposite in the consumer software space, because here it's actually, you're building something rapidly iterating on it that you want to be as useful as possible to your customer. And in the wellness space, which is less regulated than the medical device software space, you can actually iterate very, very quickly. And so we've been around for about 1.5 years. We've released over 800 versions of our app. And I would just say that the guiding force for an early company like Levels is interactions with your beta customers, your early customers. So just constant engagement with customers every single day, getting on the phone with them, getting detailed feedback about all aspects of their experience, and then figuring out a way to catalog that effectively, understand what trends and themes you're hearing regularly, and then iterating on the product and the engineering of the software to make it more and more useful for your company, for your customer. So much of it early on comes down to just obsessively focusing on the customer experience and just listening to your customers. They're going to guide you to the right product market fit. And then, so that's just kind of big picture, just early challenges to think about. But I would say another just big picture, challenge and opportunity for the consumer biowearable space is how to think about integrating into the mainstream healthcare system, because now we have, well over 50 million Americans wearing a wearable on a regular basis, and it's becoming very mainstream. And how do you integrate that type of software, those types of insights with what people are actually doing in the doctor's office? And so that's an interesting thing to navigate, and something that, I think people should be thinking about early on in the consumer wearable software development space, because at the end of the day, you want it to be able to translate into something that people can bring to their physician and have a really more higher level conversation about their health, and be able to start conversations that are meaningful between them and the doctor.
Yep, I can definitely feel that. We have so many people interested in buying like an Apple Watch or something, but it's very hard for them to share the data with the hospital. So that's definitely one of the biggest challenges. And regarding the 800 versions of the app that you're able to ship within like 1 year, it's just incredible. I am also a user of your product, Levels Health, and I really love it. I'm just amazed how fast you guys can respond to like questions and stuff. So yeah, definitely very impressive. Like moving on to the next topic, which is something that you mentioned about regulatory pathway. So what are some of the challenges and insights you have in terms of how we can deal with the regulation for wearables in healthcare?
Happy to just jump in and kind of follow up on what I was talking about earlier. So I think the first thing is, if you're getting into the software, the health tech space on the software side, first thing you need to do is like really familiarize yourself with the regulatory policies. And there's actually, the FDA is just, I think, doing an amazing job of adapting really quickly to the fact that software is now being used for health purposes. You know, everyone, I think, probably on this call has an app on their phone that is telling them something about their health, whether it's like an app that connects to their blood pressure cuff or their Apple Watch or their Whoop strap or, you know, anything. And so even a meditation app, Nike Run Club, these are all in the health and wellness and fitness space. And you really do need to know like where you're falling in terms of FDA regulation. So if this is something that you're interested in, I would say there's 3 main documents that are like long sort of legal documents from the FDA that are worth reading. One is called General Wellness Policy for Low Risk Devices. One is called Policy for Device Software Functions and Mobile Medical Applications. And then one is Software as a Medical Device, SAMD, Clinical Evaluation. And we can maybe link these afterwards if people are interested in reading more. But a key differentiator here is that a general wellness product is different than software as a medical device. So both can be software products, but one is classified as general wellness and one is software as a medical device. And the FDA defines a general wellness product as a product that basically meets 2 different criteria. It's only defined by guidance. It's not defined by like diagnostic and treatment recommendations. That's one. It's only for just general well-being. And the second is that it has to present a low risk to the safety of the person using it. So it basically is meant to be more general advising of health or healthy activities and help with lifestyles to help reduce the risk or impact, of behaviors on health, but cannot be something that manages specific disease, a specific condition, gives specific recommendations for mitigating a condition. So it's much more generalizable to health and diet and lifestyle and guidance focused, and has to be extremely low risk. So those are documents that are worth definitely getting familiar with, and, bringing in legal counsel early to really just make sure that you're following the right pathway, because it's confusing to navigate sometimes. Levels is in the wellness space. We're not designed to prevent, diagnose, or treat any condition. We are firmly helping people without a diagnosed metabolic condition understand the impact of diet and lifestyle on their glucose levels, and our software translates that data stream. So the device itself, the continuous glucose monitor, is an FDA approved medical device that's gone through a totally separate FDA regulatory pathway, huge, long process. And that is now FDA approved. But what Levels does, because we're a software company that interprets that data, while we have an independent physician network that evaluates people for these prescriptions, that actually is a separate sort of entity from what our software does. So so very different landscape between hardware and software. But the software is considered can be considered a separate entity and sort of a device in and of itself. So you need to know how your software fits into the whole regulatory landscape.
Thank you, Casey, for sharing the detailed plans for different ways in the medical device in the U.S. landscape. And Jason, do you have any insights into how the Chinese market work?
Sorry, I'm on mute. Yeah, the Casey mentioned about in the United States, and it's part of them is similar. For example, for wellness, the product, and also with medical device, so it's quite different area in China also. A lot of company try to move to the medical device area, start from the wellness device. For example, like Huawei, I paired the Huawei watch, so they also have ECG functionality, but it's similar like Apple Watch, but it's not the area of folks are similar like us. But I agree with Casey. The wellness, since it has a huge population, can get the data and together to use that to improve the lifestyle for everybody. So that's definitely work. But for us, we try to focus on medical first. And we try to use the medical device, and also we work with a hospital and other, the physician testing company, whatever things. So we collect the data all with, medical level data together and use that to, for example, we first focus on the ECG, right? So that's our target. And then we will move to diabetes and also the high blood pressure things. It's also, diseases in everywhere. So we try to use two, mechanisms to handle those things. One, we have a medical area. We work with the hospital and also government, and we carefully use those data and try to improve the patient's life. And also, we don't stop at just testing the result, which means how your body reaction for the heart disease, whatever things we find that problem is. We don't stop there. We also, recommend to the patient to the hospital and figure out how to, deal with those diseases and then finally resolve those problems. So that's the, the circle we try to, focus. And another way, we also try to, use same device in the, wellness market. So we have currently we have two product direction, or category. First one, just like I mentioned, this is our first generation. This is for the heart diseases detection, especially for the arrhythmia. And also, we also use our second generation product. So we co-work with the ABP. So we have a lot of sensory insight, include the different, type of the body reactions. We can detect those things and put things together and use our app to work with both, hospital things and also the population from the C side. So we try to build our own, both the hardware and software, the ecosystems, and to service population to collect the data and with a low cost. But our data is a medical level, which means in the future, the hospital can accept those data and use that to, figure out the patient's problem and resolve those problems. So this is our target. And also we focus on the medical device, but we always focus on the wearable medical device. And also the device has, assembled a lot of technology. For example, the material, the PCBA, the chip, and the manufacturing production, and also some technology for low energy cost. And also for the software side, we use the AI and also the blockchain technology to protect our data. So put all things together in the currently, the part of them that belong to others, which means, for example, the chip we all buy from the United States, right? The chip design all in the United States. We can do our own design right now. But I think in this, half a year, in the after June this year, 2021, we will, create a new project. So we try to put every sensor on our product with the one SoC, with the system on chip, because my background is a chip design and also chip architecture. So we try to, switch everything inside the major part, it's not belong to us. We try to build out by ourselves. So in the future, everything for this product is belong to us, from like patents, from the manufacturing, even for the everything for the chips. So that's the way we try to deliver in the current moment. But definitely, just like Casey said, this is quite different currently, same in United States and China, the wellness things and the medical things. How to put two things together to let the population to get the benefit from the medical side. I think currently a lot of people, a lot of companies try to figure out the way, but I think the best way for me is to use wearable device to collect the medical level data, and then use those data to do the later things. Definitely, we can do the analysis from different area, age, race, and also the sex, something like that, and also from disease phenomenon. We can put those information together and co-work with company for example, for the medicine company and for hospital and for some expertise in certain areas. And we can, push those areas to do the advantage, the technology, and then use that technology to benefit the people we service. So that's the point we try to reach. We just move for that target in this. Currently we do that thing right now, and also in the end of this month, we will get first generation product permit to the market. So that's the very, very good news for our company. So that's the huge milestone and first step and for us. So after we move to the market, everything will get the result to see our strategy is working or not. Definitely, we'll have some problems during the whole procedure, but we will figure out how to solve those things. And we do have the confidence we will go successful in the future. Yeah.
Great, thanks, Jason. This is great news. Can't wait to see the first version of the product. And that leads to the third topic that I think will be great to hear more about, which is the revenue or business models for the companies. So for Jason, it will be more on the hardware side, and for JC, it will be more on the software side. I would love to hear more about it.
So Casey, you first. Thank you.
Sure. So a little bit about Levels' business model. So right now we offer a 1-month program for customers. So a little bit different than a lot of the wearables on the market. And part of this is because the hardware that we're using because it is currently a medical device first and foremost, and it's sort of just entering the consumer market, it's still very high priced. And the people in our program are paying out of pocket for this because it's not covered by insurance for the wellness purpose. This is the hardware. So what we've designed is a 1-month sort of, it's a $399 product for the 1 month. And what that includes is a physician consultation, access to the continuous glucose monitors if a prescription is generated from that physician consultation, shipment of the sensors from the pharmacy, and then access to our app. So it allows people to circumvent the process of having to go to their own doctor, have a doctor's appointment with their own doctor, sort of explain to their doctor why they want a continuous glucose monitor as a non-diabetic individual, and then also gives them the fulfillment direct to their door, as well as the app. So it's sort of a package this whole month. And part of the reason that's our current business model is because of the unit economics of this hardware being high priced right now. We anticipate that over the next year or two, we're going to see a drastic price reduction in the hardware, the continuous glucose monitoring hardware, for a number of reasons. One, because there is a big consumer interest in this market, and it's going to drive up volume amongst the existing hardware manufacturers. But there's also a number of continuous glucose monitoring and multi-analyte sensor monitoring companies that are in the pipeline of creating new technology. And so when the price point for the hardware comes down, we will likely move into more of what's like a subscription model for our product when we can get the price point to something that people would actually do month over month. So it creates some interesting complexities with the software, because we're right now creating a software that's optimized around a 28-day program. And then over time, that software will shift to being more of a software designed around longitudinal use. So that's very much built into our roadmap, but our current product iteration is really iterated around a 4-week, 28-day program and what you can get out of that short period. But things will change as unit economics change. But there's really strong signals from the hardware manufacturers that they are very aware of this consumer interest and are adapting to accommodate that through increased production. You're already seeing companies like Abbott, which is one of the 3 main hardware companies, creating FDA approved devices for the non-diabetic population. They just came out with something called Abbott Sense, which is a new type of CGM for non-diabetics. It's only available in Europe right now. So there's definitely movement there. But our feeling is that this really needs to come down to a $99 per month price point for people to actually subscribe to it, to be able to have this technology month after month. We've done some testing with with our members to sort of see what that price point would need to be to really get subscriptions at scale. And it's around that point. So there's a ways to go there, but it's interesting how sort of, cost and business model, unit economics do kind of blend together to determine where we are right now. So.
Definitely. Would love to see how the future goes in terms of the collaboration with software and hardware. And Jason, would you like to share some feedback?
Yeah, Casey was right. So for me, United States with China has 2 different medical systems. So in United States, the clinical trial and also the clinic is quite different. The first time you see the home doctor, and then home doctor recommend you to the specialist. In China, everything put together. The hospital will do everything, even test your doctor, your physician, the surgery, whatever things in the same environment. So that's quite different. So for our business model, so first thing definitely is we will move to the high level, the hospital first. So that's our target. So medical device is quite different, like the commercial device. For example, if iWatch, even Apple Watch, you can cost about $400, about that, right? The cost for that one, the cost for the basic things is maybe only kind of $30, something like that. Similar things for our production. So the cost is very low for your manufacturing, but whenever you get the permit for the medical device, the price very high in the medical hospital when you sell these things to the hospital. So for our business model, we have 2 kinds of target. One target for hospital, so we sell the parts to the hospital first, and also we have the things with the regular use, like a patch things, and which generate the first revenue from that part. And later we try to push down the things to the low level hospital, even like we call it in China is in the street, on the street is small with a community. So that's kind of a hospital. But in that hospital, because our area is like heart diseases, it's very special. So in China, total 30,000 doctor has experience, can deal with the ECG signal. So for us, we build the online environment. We have cloud systems, and we have independent the doctors online. They can deal with the ECG signal, figure out everything, use our software. So for that part, we will pay the money, and of course the money from the local low-level hospital, from patient eventually. So that system is all covered by insurance currently. So that's one market-driven function we want to go with this business model. So we can generate the revenue from device, from service, and also from parts regularly used. The second part we try to move it's kind of similar with Casey for software side, but we do have a hardware provided to the to the population, which means we lower the cost and to the C side, the customer, and then we provide the app to the customer with a 1 month, even 2 months free trial, which means you can keep the data in our app. You can check everything in that apps. We keep those things for the data, for the personally. But if you wanted to check like later, like half year's reporting and 1 year's data collection and everything, even with a doctor, with things to help you to figure out problems, so that will cost money. So that's for the C side business model. Of course, every side, has a circle, which means you have to do every corner with your own. You cannot depend on others. But definitely there are bottleneck. For example, like I mentioned, the quality, qualified the doctor for the ECG signal deal with those things less than 30,000. So in the future, we use the AI to, solve this problem. But currently we have to depend on the doctor, which means you have a bottleneck for that. The doctor size like that, but the population is huge. Patient huge size. So that's the bottleneck. But we will figure out, because initially we don't move very fast. We will slowly to move to the market. We test our strategy and we get response from the market. And then we change our strategy to fit those requirements and we get revenue. So for us, also we have a different product line, right? We will design our first generation diabetes, long-term diabetes monitor in this second of this year. So that's one, we at least keep 7 days longer to monitor your diabetes level, and you can test that anytime you want it. You can use your cell phone to check anytime you want it, and we keep the data on the app and we monitor that. We give you a recommendation for every day. So by this, and people can get benefit for that, and can handle the diabetes by themselves with the help from us. So that's kind of things we need to tightly with our customer and provide the better service compared to other companies, because we have hardware, we have software, we have a whole circle production. And then we have, very tightly with the customer can use our device and for a long time, because we do the things like long time, the things like the diabetes, whenever you have it, it's a whole life, right? Like high blood pressures, like the heart diseases. Those things is a long term. So what we want to service those diseases in long term with our app and also with our product. So in the future, the most valuable things is the data. Just like I mentioned, the hardware just the key to open the door. So what behind the door is all information you wanted. Whenever you open the door, you can get those information, and later you can use that information, not whatever you want, but definitely you need to carefully use those information, but that information is most valuable things for me, for our company. So I hope I can clearly to introduce our company business model. But in the future, we do have another way to deal with other, B side customers. Because right now for device, we deal with the hospital. This is one way. The hospital can, with us, we provide that device, that's it. But they still have a lot of patients, in the C side or B side customer. How could service those things? You cannot sell the device to them because they don't know how to use it. They don't know how to figure out the ECG signal or get the report to everybody. So we will build our own the like test center. So we will provide those service to the B side customer, and we provide things for the package. For example, the device is ours, right? The doctor, physician is ours, but we only provide the device to you can use that, and you just pay money for the report. And then finally, we give you a report, okay, how many people in your company has heart disease, you will figure out. And then later, which we recommend those people go to certain hospital to figure out how to solve these problems with hospital. So that's another business model we try to build right now. Yeah, just like I said, there's 3 kind of business model currently we use in China, but definitely everything is very tough, especially for the C-side customer. You need to treat them and you educate them to know why this device is used for you can get benefit. We need to spend money. We need to do a lot of things, introduction, whatever. So that costs time and money. But in the future, I think after people get especially for the China right now, a lot of people get rich and they want to spend money on the health. They want to get benefit for that. So we try to, use that way and also co-work with our, partner like hospital, some expertise, and to educate people to know, okay, how could we deliver those things to them, and then later they can get benefit from that. Make one example. I don't want to spend too much time, but make one example. One of my little brother, we graduate from same school in China, so we play soccer usually in Shenzhen. So he feel is not comfortable occasionally for the heart, so come to my company. So we gave the patch for him. And I think one for 7 days, one for 5 days. So we found the problem for the heart. So he went to the hospital, use a traditional hospital ECG to test. They never found the problem. So it's very, very, it's very, very popular things happen usually. And also it's not age related. So from those things, I know our product is very good for this kind of area we want to move. So in the future, I think our business model will go successful. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Jason, for sharing the insights. Product first, user first. This is something that we have to remember always. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. We still have a couple of questions left, but we'll definitely leave that to our audience and we'll go into the breakout rooms. Charlene, do you want to separate the rooms?